guys, welcome back to the next part of making a chef's knife. At this point, the last time we saw one another, basically we had attached the bolsters, peened them in. I went ahead and cleaned up one side. All right, so one side looks like this, one side looks basically made those pins disappear. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other side as well, but before we do that, I want to actually just finish evening these out, putting them down to the tang, all right, on both sides, and then I'm going to contour them in a little bit, and then we're going to go over to the grinder and clean up this side, all right, make those pins disappear, and then we're going to drill holes and attach the handle scales. All right, so here goes nothing. Super slow to remove this last bit of material to where the bolster and the tang meet up flush. You can kind of feel with your fingernail so you can see the difference in the scratch. Underpowered for this. Perfect world, I'd have a horizontal grinder, but that's not in the budget yet. So I'm going to keep working on this. I'm going to do the bottom as well, and then I'll come back when we start contouring the actual bolster. Thank you. Okay, so at this point, I got the bolster, tops of them cleaned up, matching up. There's no gap, hairline here, but I can live with it. So regardless, bolsters match up. Nice and smooth on the inside. So basically, all I want to do now is just contour this, okay? Because if I left this as is, basically those are like sharp edges, and they're just gonna, make it very uncomfortable to hold and use. And I don't make this knife to just sit in the shelf somewhere. I make them to be used. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to use the spindle sander, and we're just going to round off these edges, contour this in to make it very comfortable in the hand. time being, I feel pretty good about that. It's nice and rounded off. I will have to come in here with some fine grit sandpaper or one of the mini files to get this front part here, because I don't want to mess up my my blade flat there. But overall, feels pretty good on that side. So I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. Then we'll pick it back up when we're cleaning this up here. Alright. Thank you. Alright, so we are back at the belt grinder, and we are going to finish up cleaning up this bolster here, okay? So we got our edges rounded off, alright? And we are going to make this side look like outside. Alright, so we're going to perform a little magic here. So anyhow, basically I just got a 220 grit belt on belt grinder. And we are just going to knock these down until they disappear. See, just pinning a little bit. So the one has pretty much completely disappeared. And the second, which is a little bit higher up. Almost there. Set this down for a second. Be right back. Okay, so now both sides, you can still see them a little bit. That side's a little bit better. So just need to hit that on the grinder for a little bit longer, and those should all but disappear. So next we're going to drill some holes for our handles. We're going to be putting those curly koa scales with the black liners on there. Alright, so over to the drill press. Alrighty guys, so at this point I want to drill my holes. Alright, so I have my my koa scales here. Alright, and off camera I took time to make sure I squared up the edge to where everything fits snug as a bug in a rug there. Alright, so at this point, you know, I really like these scales, so I don't want to mess everything up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hold this super tight to the bolster, okay, and I'm going to drill one of my holes. Alright, so now that I have one of my pins through, okay, alright, so at this point I have one of my holes drilled, and I went ahead and I dropped one of my pins into it just to kind of keep it in place. Alright, so now at this point, again, just checking up, make sure everything's lined up. I'm going to drill my remaining holes. Now I'll drop another pin in. Just keep that in place. Still good up front. And then we'll drill our third. Left side is done. Now we're going to do exactly the same for the right side. One thing I would recommend though is after you drill this, go ahead and just hit the back side of this once with the grinder, just real lightly, because it does kind of raise like a little bit of a burr after you drill. So we'll check back for some gluing. Right? Alright guys, we're down to basically the last part of this video. Alright, and that is going to be gluing the handle scales on. Do that with a two-part epoxy here. This is the DevCon 2-ton epoxy. It's worked really well for me so far. I'm sure there's better stuff out there. Actually, my next order of stuff, I'm going to get either Blade Bond or G-Flex. I guess it has a little bit more flexible, and also it has a longer shelf life. But for this particular knife, I'm not so much worried about the shelf life, just because it's got 3 pins in it, and this stuff will never break down enough to where this handle's coming off. So once we're finished here, this handle's on for good. So what we want to do is just 2 equal parts. Mix it up very, very good. It'll turn like a cloudy consistency. Get it all together. See my Ghetto Workshop Band-Aid. I managed to cut myself with a 220 grit belt while I was rounding off the edges of one of my pins here. And in case you're wondering, that hurts really bad. So what I do here, alright, As you can see, I've already, before heat treat, I scored up the tang of the blade just by drilling some little holes into it. Okay, and again, like I mentioned, with the amount of pins we got in this and those marks on the those little holes on the tang, this thing isn't going anywhere, but it's still always good to score up not only the tang but whatever you're gluing it to. So whether it be your micarta, your wood, or like for example this vulcanized fiber backing that I have on here. Alright, so basically just scoring that up, making it a little rough. I did just wipe these down with some acetone as well to help remove any oils from my fingers or whatever. Then I immediately proceeded to touch them, so you know, it is what it is. Alright, so we got this good and mixed up, and we're going to go ahead and apply these to the tang. Alright, so as far as epoxy goes, really no sense in being sparing, you know, lay it on there pretty liberally. No need to go completely ridiculous, but because all the extra is going to squeeze out anyway. But it's good to get some up in there, up into the holes. Alright, well, that's my left one, so I'm going to apply just a little to the left side here as well, up to the bolster. Alright, dip this in there. Up through there. To line this bad boy up. Uh-oh. Pin down, pin down. That's okay. Yeah. And it's gonna have a little extra epoxy on it. Just some lube. So at this point, just going to tap them down until they go all the way through. And then we're going to rinse and repeat on the other side. I'm making a freaking mess with this stuff. Oh, whatever. So I hope you guys have enjoyed these videos I've been making. I've been having fun making them. I have fun making the knives. Recording the process is honestly kind of a pain in the butt, especially if you don't have a good camera set up, because I'm basically just doing this on my phone, and the sun came down and helped me video something a little bit earlier, but that's a process in itself. Alright, liberal application of epoxy complete. If this is the first time you guys are working with epoxy, having something with a slightly longer working time is not a bad thing. because you try to use the 5-minute stuff, which I've done in the past and it works fine. You just have to hustle with it, okay? Alright, so I got both on. Second one is not all the way down. So we're just going to use a little clamp to help us out here. Yeah, I just didn't put it on very even. So I will usually clamp them until it starts squeezing out at the bottom. I like to put the clamps pretty much smack in the middle. Also at this point you definitely want to make sure that your pins are all the way through, which this one is not, so we're just going to do a little whackaroo. If it's real close, that's fine, because a good bit of this material is going away anyway. This handle, I'm probably going to put 4 clamps on it. Alright, and once you got it all clamped up, again, make sure that your pins are coming all the way through. This one is not, so I'm just going to give it a whack. That'll be good. Alright, and now we're gonna let that dry and cure for about 24 hours. This DevCon stuff that I'm using actually says that it only takes 8 to 12 hours. This temperature, I'd give it about 10 or 12. But there's no such thing as too much cure time. So basically, like I said, we'll let that set up, let it cure. Not a terrible idea to put paper towel and or napkin or something along those lines underneath of it, just because that epoxy is going to drip everywhere. If you don't want it all over your clamps or your shop bench or kitchen table, wherever you may be doing this, put something underneath it. But guys, thank you very much. One other thing, wouldn't mind if you guys gave any of these videos a thumbs up, rate, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. I appreciate your time, and have a great night.